I thought about how it was when I come along. It was just particular hell.
We still had a hard time finding a decent place to eat, finding a hotel. You know, we'd sleep in the bus a lot.
Honest to God, I am told you plenty, but it was hell.
I mean, we knew where we could go, and we knew where we couldn't go.
It was the third business for the Negro in all the United States, Negro League Baseball.
The struggle to get in the majors, it was not overcome in the signing of Jackie Robinson.
Led the league in home runs and hit around 330, and set a league record that still stands in that league, 136 RBIs. They said I was too temperamental. It wasn't temperamental. I just didn't like to be mistreated.
I have my own baseball card. I want to make sure that you can give one to everybody in the class, you know.
All I want to do is put out information in the JIT so some of these kids can see.
You've got some people that want to tell the story and give them credit for a lot of what they did, and they're just so proud.
I go out there and I'll give maybe a pitcher, a catcher, one of these pitchers, you know.
I love the cards. I thought they were great, and I thought they would sell.
He'll show it around, and everybody wants one.
We discussed what we went through, and if the ones that coming along now would have been with us, it wouldn't been no integration because they wouldn't accept it. We was rocked out from Detroit. We saw the cars behind us with the lights, but you leaving a baseball game, you see plenty cars. So we just figured that's what it was. 2 motorcycle cops was in the back, 2 was in the front. They got outside the city limits. And when them cops turned around, that's when they started rocking that bus. Broke the windows on the bus. They darn sure did.
In the 50s, this country was still very segregated. We were very much aware that even though the major leagues had begun to integrate their clubs, that the social climate was very much the same.
When I was playing with the Nashville Cubs, we went into Homer, Louisiana, and we couldn't dress at the ballpark. We had to dress on the bus. They wouldn't let us dress in that ballpark. And we the attraction for that night. So that meant that when we got through, we had to find somewhere we could rent a tub or ride to the next city to take a bath.
So often, a particular part of the history is overlooked. I mean, they won't hear about the Bill Powells and the Layman Ramseys. Most will hear about Josh Gibson. Most will hear about Jackie Robinson.
Jackie was an educated ball player. The Negro League was loaded with, say, 5th and 6th graders.
Jackie Robinson had a cool attitude. He was taught. Some of y'all had taught him.
Jackie would have been the only ball player that I know at that time would take a lot of name calling besides myself.
Tommy Sampson wasn't taught like that. His attitude was different because he was big and had nobody told him what not to say and what he couldn't say. He gonna take the chip on his shoulder. You can't take the chip on your shoulder.
We had other ball players that wouldn't take it, great ball players. They wouldn't take it, I know.
If I'm working for you, I got to do what you say do. I can't take the chip on my shoulder and do what I want to do. Do what good am I?
Jackie, when he's with Kansas City, they always stop at this place out in Oklahoma and get gas for it. And they had 2 50-gallon tanks on each side of that bus. And Jackie started toward the proprietor's place, and he said, "Where you going, boy?" He said, "I'm going to the restroom." He said, "You can't use the restroom." Jackie come back, grabbed that nozzle in there, pulled that nozzle out and said, "Let's go. No restroom, no gas."
When we saw him playing, we just said that guy going to the major.
Blacks riding segregated buses, riding segregated trains, eating segregated sandwiches, staying in segregated hotels, and sitting in segregated seats in St. Louis to see Jackie. And so in St. Louis, They said, we got to find a place that Jackie can stay in there with the white players. And they said, well, we can do that too, but what about the swimming pool out there? You know what Jackie said? I don't know how to swim. You know Jackie knew how to swim.
Oh, yeah. What can draw people to the ballpark other than a black man playing on a white team in the major leagues, these United States of America, and here comes Jackie.
And he educated us too. Don't think he didn't, not just the white world, he educated us. That's when Jackie's my hero.
The beginning of the civil rights movement didn't start with Martin Luther King. It started with Jackie integrating baseball.
Jackie shortened his life so the blacks could play. He died in his 50s. He was almost blind when he died, so that we could play.
Seemed like he had something that would make him be the man that God wanted to be there. We always said we believed that by Jackie.
He said, before I die, I want to see a black man standing over there on third base coaching. He died before Frank Robinson could get him.
They had quotas, and they were certainly not going to get into a situation whereby they would overload their rosters with a lot of blacks.
And I believe I could have excelled hitting and running and setting some records too.
You didn't get the chance. You didn't get the chance, how can you explain or do anything for it?
Told me, he said, oh, you got a lot of power, so you gonna make it.
We all knew that there were guys in the Negro Leagues who could play in the major leagues. There was no question about that. It was just a matter of getting the opportunity. I was in the Negro Leagues when Hank Aaron came to the Indianapolis team. He was a skinny guy from Alabama, and before the season was half over, the Milwaukee Braves, they signed him to a contract. The rest is history. We all know that he turned out to be one heck of a ball player. Ernie Banks, who's also in the Hall of Fame, he played with the Kansas City Monarchs. He played the year before I got to the Monarchs. He was signed directly into the majors and played with the Chicago Cubs upon leaving the Kansas City Monarchs.
They had a quota system, and you had to be a phenom to get invited. If you notice, all the black players that went, they were great ball players. I can't say I wasn't great because I never know. I don't know what I would have done.
The integration was very slow. It was painstakingly slow, and it didn't happen overnight. Most teams had developed quotas, and they would have no more than 1 or 2 blacks on their team, even though there were guys who could have been and should have been on the major league rosters.
If you play in the minor leagues now, 6 years, you got a chance to go somewhere else if this organization don't want you. It wasn't that way with me. It was just like slavery. You had to stay there till they got rid of you, farmed you out, or sold you, but you couldn't go nowhere.
Once you got 25, they held you back. The first thing they're gonna say you was too old. Saying you got ball player now, paying till 45.
I always thought it's not whatever you did, you would advance, but that didn't happen.
Now you would automatically get signed with just that much power, but it didn't happen then. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
What happened to players after integration? What happened to the other black players who didn't get the big chance? They were qualified to play in the big leagues, but they weren't signed yet because there was this quota system in effect.
Although Jack and them tried out with the Braves, it was 12 years before they had a black ball player, and he was Pumpsie Green.
It probably went on a couple of decades before the bars were pretty well dropped altogether.
I think Major League Baseball missed out on some great athletes by the blacks not being included to play baseball.
We got a knock on the door. This was in 1998.
I thought about, maybe I should have a baseball card made.
It was Pedro Sierra at the door, and I had never heard of Pedro.
So I just had to give a little lecture about why the league started.
And we started talking about baseball.
When it ended, and you were like, wait a minute, I didn't know anything like that.
He said there were a lot of Negro League players that wanted to share their story, but there was really no avenue for them to take it to the public.
A lot of people didn't know anything about the Negro League or what we went through.
I had just begun to get involved again and going to card shows.
When I go into the baseball card circles with some of the guys that I know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, that there was a Negro League.
Meeting guys at reunions and explaining to people what the Negro League was all about.
I had a knowledge of trading cards and the trading card marketing and how to present their story in that format. So I sort of paired that with what they were trying to teach, and I thought, hey, it's a partnership made in heaven.
I just thought this was an extension of what I was doing and also an opportunity to let people know what we did, what we went through. And so I embraced the idea. And knowing Pedro, and he told me, hey, this is going to be a good deal. I said, well, you know, when do we start?
It's too late for me to be talking about making some money, and I'm not going to hit the lottery. If I do, you won't have nothing to worry about. I'll give you enough to run your program.
I decided to present them all as they appear today in their legacy form. You know, they've already done their day, and so I presented them in a template that sort of gives them a look back through the window of time and present their Negro League experience from a wise perspective. And with contracts, I met players, and it was about them getting to know me, winning their confidence.
We were going to Florida, and it was raining. It was really raining, and Jim just kept on pushing the pedal.
Jake has vision problems, so he can't drive.
I couldn't even see ahead of me, and he was just pushing the pedal, and I didn't say nothing. I just had faith that there was a greater power behind us and what we were doing.
A phone call ahead, and there I was to the next door, and they greeted me. They knew a little bit about me because the player that they trusted and had known for years had just met me and called ahead.
I would feel like I was part of the game, even though I didn't know nothing about what one base to the other meant.
We ended up driving about nearly 6,000 miles in 18 days.
Jim was like part of their family. He was just someone that they accepted as one of them.
He was with us, marshmallow and chocolate milk.
That's what you called me.
You be a marshmallow.
That's right.
We went in hotels. We haven't got no rooms.
We were so excited about playing ball, and it was in our blood, so it didn't bother me until I got about 26.
We're going to restaurants. Look at you, say, one moment. Another one come, you say, one moment. So that we always give them 3 strikes, we said. At 3rd time, if they don't come and wait on us, we get up and walk out. Now, they wouldn't walk out. They'd tear the place down. Right now, they would, see.
I just smelled small, you know, but I was used to being segregated. But I was raised in a segregated city. I knew what I could do and what I couldn't do,
It wasn't as hard as you think, because we was used to it and we expected it too. Until I got about 25 or 26, that's when it hit me.
This man bought this hotel up there in a white area. See, that was our home ground, Indianapolis Clown. We come in from the game, then we'd go in there. He had 2 doors, one on Capitol and the other one's on Mary. We just put our bags down. The preacher and I'd be the first one to go over. We was the smallest person on the team. We walked in. He said, "You niggas don't come in this door." That's on Capitol. That was the main street.
During that time, we came up under, you might call, a segregated society.
So we went over there, wasn't no blacks up there at all. But we were the only blacks up there.
Even the civil rights laws wasn't on the books in Washington, D.C.
You come in what, you said? He said, "You come in this door. You don't come in that door." I said, "Oh, you want to do it like the people used to do, the black people years ago. They couldn't come in the front door." I said, wait till we come back, because that's where everybody go and eat after. And them big guys coming in, some of those Creoles from Louisiana, and had them Spanish guys on the team there. And they said, what's the matter, Coles, you and Preacher? Call him Preacher Henry. He told us to come in the side door. They all turned around, went back in the hotel. And they come out with them 45. I'm not lying, they come out with 45. What kind of wood you call us over there? So come on and get anything you all want. Don't worry about it. Go on back, get anything you want. Come on behind the counter.
It was blue and white with a red trim, looked like a little miniature Greyhound. And every time you pull up someplace, some reason, the regular bus guys like Greyhound look at it and marvel over it, you know what I mean, like that. One Saturday morning, our bus caught fire. The highway patrol car pulled up, and we heard the dispatch and all of them discussing, say, it's just some niggers whose bus is caught on fire. And that really got to us. It really got to us.
Whatever you hear, let it go in one ear and out the other one, and keep hitting that ball, keep running, keep catching, and don't worry about a thing. And that was my motto all the way through my life, hearing a lot of slang and name calling.
You saw two water fountains, colored and white.
Yeah.
Both water coming out same pipe, only to spread off, same fountain.
Right.
And yet, this water over here was better than this water. We always could make humor. Some say one of us was drinking water out of there, and some guy said, "Hey boy, you can't drink out of there." He jumped back and looked at it and said, "What's the matter with it? Is it poison?"
We played in a town called Shelby, North Carolina, and I was in the bullpen talking to my players, fellow players, and the little kid that was in the bullpen also, which I giving it a ball. So at that time, you know, our uniform had the names in the back. And the kid's father came over.
I played with the Knoxville Smokers, and Dick Bartell was the manager. Dick wanted me to help him. He said he could use my bat in getting in the playoffs.
But the guy came over and he looked at my name on the back. It says, "Sierra, what kind of name is that for a nigger?" Saying like that. So I said it's a Spanish name.
No sooner than I stepped in the box, a chat went out. Said, "Strike that nigger out, strike that nigger out, strike that nigger out."
And his son said, "Pa, don't say that kind of word. That's a bad word. He's a very nice guy." He gave me this ball. So the guy was really embarrassed. He says, "Well, I didn't mean nothing like that, sir." I said, "That's okay." And I heard that slur before.
And I happened to hit, stole second, stole third, come in and scored. And about 3 innings later, went up to the plate again and heard that chat again. "Strike that nigga out, strike that nigga out." I think I walked that time. I stole about 4 bases that night.
Most people say that we weren't organized. They always want to picture us like burlesque or vaudeville or something. We did a show, we run in there and do some dances, come out to the ball game. That wasn't what it was. I got paid on 1st and 15, just like I did when I got in white baseball. The contract, I could show you the contract and you couldn't tell the difference between the black contract and the white contract. It's the same words. I had played with the local team here, which was called the Nashville Cub, in the second Negro Southern League, and I hit .368 for them, and I enjoyed that because it looked like everything I hit was on the fat of the bat.
Through a fastball, curveball, sinker, I throw your sidearm, a curve fastball, it comes out here and comes in and it do that to you.
Wherever the catcher wanted me, ball, I could hit it. See, I always pitched all them that slow, low, and inside.
I would be like a shortstop, hit the ball to me. I just felt that way. I want them to hit the ball to me.
I believed in not dying on third. Like a lot of ball players get to third base and they, as far as they go, but I'd be telling the catcher I'm coming home.
We had a black-owned industry. We eat in the best restaurants, stayed in the best hotels, but we just happened to be black. We wanted to prove that we was just as good as the whites.
Submarine, I sometimes late in a ball game and I can feel kind of weak. I throw on the hand curveball. And it gets there and it comes up in your face. See, I comes on the hip. When I get ready to deliver it, I comes like this.
The Negro Leaguers actually changed the way the game was played.
Cool Papa Bill, how he went to third on a bunt, and it sounds unreal. But what he did is just like hit and run. It's bunt and run.
On a little simple thing like the scuttle slide. The scuttle slide is when the guy slides to second base or third base and get up at the same time. That's called the scuttle slide.
And I learned so much about first base. They hit the ball in between the outfield. I'd come in where that base is right there and tell the umpire, watch his foot. And I'll follow that runner all the way to second base. I haven't seen anybody do that. If he rounds second base and like he's going to third and that outfield pick up that ball, I'm right there with him and I get it. Because I followed the runner down to second base.
2 out. Pop Wilson played third base at that time for the home state grade. Come over, hit a line drive and hit Leon Day on the knee. And that puts him out of the game. And the great Buck Leonard coming up with 2 out and 2 men on. So I told Dick London, I said, the best thing you do, bring in Hopgood and let him pitch to Buck Leonard, because he's left-handed, and I'll pitch to Josh Gibson.
We met in Indianapolis Clown, our first spring training game, exhibition game. That night, Buck started me, Buck O'Neill that is, he was my manager then. He started me, naturally, the first 3 innings.
Count bases in town, playing that as a boy up in Harlem that night. All I got my mind on is to get this game over with and let me get this dance hall with the young count bases so I can dance with some of them gals. So nothing to do, Hopgood come in and walks up. Buck Leonard, that load the bases. 2 out, 3 men on, and the great Josh Gibson. We used to call him the white Babe Ruth coming up. And that's where everybody in New York took it. He got to be the Babe Ruth. And I'm coming in laughing. I came in, boy, I'm gonna tell you, I never had seen that many people in my life.
So when I went in there, 3 up and 3 down, swinging. And I did that for 3 innings. So I asked for another one. I say, Buck, these are my boys. May I have another, some more? He said, all of them your boys. He said, yes, go ahead.
So get everybody hollering for Josh Gibson. They know he's supposed to hit this home run, see. I shot him 2 curveballs down there, and the umpire got him strike 2. And Mac walked out there and told me, he said, William, don't throw him that fastball. Because Mac thought I might come from that side-on fastball and might hang out there for him. And nothing to do, I shot that rascal. Another curveball down here, and he was so afraid the man would call a strike, he just lunged over and hit it to the shortstop, Willie Webb. Willie Webb threw him out. And you know what I'm saying? They had to scout me on back over there in Newark, New Jersey. I couldn't even go to the dance that night. They told me they'd go hang me. I wanted to go to that dance so bad, what well to do. And I said to myself, how people could be so crazy about one man, and that was all over the country. I said, they was as crazy about Josh Gibson as was Babe Ruth.
The Jet, Sam Jethro. I threw him out one night in Dayton 3 times.
I was a Bible hitter. Thou shalt not pass if it's in the strike zone.
Sam is dead now, but I used to rib him all the time. I said, you run on somebody, but you better not run on me.
The lady come there to the dugout. We were sitting in the stadium, in the dugout. And she come over. And Big John Williams, he weighed about your side. He about your side. And she come over, she said, oh, say, you Jim Cozy. He said, no, that's him sitting right there. She looks, you Jim Cozy? I said, yes, I am. I thought you was a big man. I said, don't pay that no attention. I have on 2 pair of sliding pads.
we got in Chicago, what really got by me and really tickled me, we went to Little Willie's Paradise, 169th Street. Oh, he had a beautiful one. And do some of them old sport gals was out there, you know what I'm saying? You were so pretty, you had to pick up one of them and carry them on in there. So here we goes on there with 4 ball players, and we goes on in this nightclub, and they sit in there drinking and everything. So I got me a Coca-Cola. And long then, see, them old slick gals, they catch a little pill under their fingernail, and they could drop it in your drink. And you would think you get up all eyes, all wall around, you know, think you follow them on out. And they could strip, you see. And of course, this gal I was with, because I won't drink and liquor like the other 3 men. She threw that glass of liquor. You try to be slick, don't you? You try to be smart. I said, no, I don't do that. But I jumped up and started turning the table over, but they wouldn't let me, see. I was gonna break I'm glad they didn't, see. Cause I'm young, see, and they ain't got no business in that to start with.
We knew that the Negro League was going down. It was dilly like ditty. We didn't know where we were going. You hear about Dutch?
I haven't heard about Dutch.
Well, Dutch is where you go in the store, get your stick of bologna and a loaf of bread and a strawberry pop. And we ready to go. We was going to increase the gate money. So we put 3 white players on the team and went into Birmingham. And before we could get off the bus, this police chief got on the bus and said, I hear you got some white players on the team. If you put them white players in uniform, I'm closing this ballpark down and the concession, and there'll be no ball game here tonight. And they said, can we sit on the bench? He said, no, because they had a section for white to sit, and most all the other in white baseball too. Even when I was playing AAA ball in Richmond, the stands were segregated. It wasn't until 1965 when I saw this fella putting the dogs and water on these civil rights people in Alabama, Birmingham, that I recognized who that guy was that got on the bus, and it was Bull Connor, one of the staunch people in the world against civil rights.
As a kid growing up around Nashville, I always loved baseball. Despite being a segregated city, wasn't in baseball, organized baseball for the black boy to play in school. So I just played a little softball around the school grounds. I just started playing baseball until I went to the Navy during World War II. Our right fielder, who was from Baltimore, said to me one day, said, Jim, if I'd recommend you to the Baltimore Eli Giants, would you go down and play with them on weekends? Now, I read about the Eli Giants, and I've seen the guys, pictures like Kimbrough and Campbell. I said, yeah, I'd be glad to. So he got me about $50 a game and all expenses and everything. So I'd go down and play the Eli's on weekends. And I was 21 years old, and I had a quick bat. You can hardly shoot a fastball by me. And when he threw me a fastball, I hit him on top of that right center field screen in Griffith Stadium for triple. And from then on, Buck Leonard would always tell his pitchers to keep that fastball away from Zap. Stand down in front of a nightclub in Nashville, and the old ball player happened to be in town by the name of T. Brown, who played in the Negro Leagues for a long time. He said, if I would recommend you to go to Birmingham Black Browns, you go to spring training with them. I said, yeah, I'll go to spring training with Birmingham. So I did. At that time, the best team I ever played on. We had a little youngster play with us on weekends when we were in town by the name of Willie Mays. He was 17 years old. We went on to win the first half championship, and Kansas City Monarchs won the second half championship. So we had to play best 4 out of 7 series for the championship. Third game we played in Memphis. In the 9th inning, they had us 2-1 with 2 outs. The batter from me got on. So that pitcher, the boy by the name of Jim Lamar, the ace, I was kind of guessing curveball. He threw me 2 fastballs. I half swung and fouled them all. And he threw back, come back again with 2 strikes on me, another fastball. I hit him over left center field, and beat him 3-2. Buck O'Neill never wanted to say I hit off his ace. Never wanted to say I hit off his ace. In the 7th ball game, beat him 4-1 for the championship. And that's the greatest team I ever played on.
Some of the best ball players ever played baseball on down. Like Larry Doby, Jackie Robinson with the Dodgers. Famous for his hat falling off going in the second. Saturated on the end. He had a good fastball and the hesitation pitch. Like he always hit a fastball.
Sure tells a story, doesn't it?
Yeah. And all those guys should have played in the majors. They won. But you know, if all of them was living now, they'd tell you they'd do it all over again. That's the fun of it. They don't have no hard feelings, but not making it. had so much fun. Some of them, when they went to the majors at 35, some of them turned it down because they was past their prime. Most of the guys I played with were past their prime. Make me think I could play now.
He had some excellent players in 1947 back. Excellent players. But also we had enough good players to keep the league moving.
There were about 15 Negro League ball players who went barnstorming against the major leaguers, against Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. I was one of them. We played about 40 games, And we had some guys who went from our team and ended up in the majors, A guy like Walter Bond, who played outfield for the Houston Astros. He was with us. John Kennedy, who became the first black with Philadelphia.
No, you come on and sit right here with me.
A kid growing up could read the Chicago Defender or the Afro-American or the Pittsburgh Courier. Those were sort of nationwide black weekly papers, and he could get his news from there and follow his favorite players. He didn't have the added element of the cards.
To say these guys never had a trading card is like saying it didn't exist.
Having the cards means that these guys must have been ball players. They must have had a league. People who didn't know about them are going to learn about them.
I couldn't see a reason not to do it. We just moved forward with it. It had to be done. It was time. Their images of the way they are now, but donned in uniforms from the past. I could present them on a worldwide website across the internet, and also in a trading card collection. We had made calls to some of these bigger printers, those that work for Don Russ and Topps and Fleer and Upper Deck, and create their cards. Well, that's what I want. I want someone like that to create our cards. We tossed around the idea of meeting with some of the big names in trading cards. I went down to Don Russ. The feedback at that time is the distribution path isn't ready for something like we're trying to put together. From that point to present, that's where we've been, trying to figure how we can get this in front of the national market. If it was all just about baseball, their stats or how professional they were before or after 1947-48, but it's more than baseball. So many of these guys contributed not only to baseball, but to societal evolution during that period.
Theoretically, there wasn't any more segregation, but actually, yeah, there was, and guys were victims of it. Guys would get into the white minor leagues and couldn't get promoted. So a lot of them ended their careers, at Waterloo, Iowa, or wherever, and there was always this unseen bar that remained up there.
I never played with a real good ball team in AAA. They were either ball players ready to retire, or ball players coming down from the majors, and they always called me a fancy fielding first baseman. My silver glove covered every minor league organization that it was, from D-ball on. I had the best record of all the minor leagues. That's what made it so unusual for me to win it 2 years in a row. I couldn't believe it. Being the only blacks on some teams, it was tough. When I played in the Sally League, that was the league that Aaron and Frank Robinson and all them played. They had 3 restrooms in a service station. I never seen that before. If they stopped somewhere, they had to bring me a sandwich. In the Texas League, they stopped that. If they couldn't serve me, we wouldn't stop. And see, I came out on top in the Sally League because I couldn't stay with them. So they was being in the lower mountains, they didn't stay in the first class hotels. I stayed in the Blessed Black hotels, and some of them had swimming pools. Oh. And I didn't have to check in at night. I'm one of the directors on the RBI board. The RBI is baseball for inner city kids. The black kid of today is getting shafted. You see Little League World Series, you can count the blacks on your hand. You see the College World Series, you can count the blacks on your hand. In the Major League, it's 10% now.
I have very limited black kids coming over here. They want to play football, basketball, they want to be another Michael Jordan, okay? They don't want to be another Jackie Robinson because their dream is already past time. Let's face it. Most baseball now is controlled by private organizations in this area and all over the United States. You have a good business, you are a lawyer, and another lawyer got together and they want the kid to play, so they build the team around people with money. Those kids got better uniforms than I did with the clown. Bag, baseball bag, glove, everything. So they form a traveling team. And they don't only discriminate the black, they discriminate the one that can't afford to be in there. And some kid, the minute they graduate from high school, they give them a brand new car. And kind of spoil a kid. I've seen kids over here that the father goes, he said, "Don't give me my bat in the car, go and give me that." Are you kidding me? Go and beat your bat and go and get your thing. Don't spoil a kid. No.
All baseball is beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Baseball is a funny thing, I learned so much. That's how come I love it so much. You see, I live here, and this is my little ballpark. And working harder because they take for granted. They think because you got a brand new pair of shoes and a brand new glove and a nice glove to hit and a nice bat, you're a ball player. No. No, you take a picture, look good. No, you gotta work your ass off to be a good ball player.
Doing this,
I learned from the old one and I learned from the old people. See, they teach me and I relate that to a different generation. Baseball is 75% from here up. You don't think you can play that game. So I teach those things here. Anything that I learned from Hank and I learned from Willie May, from Bank. I used to talk to Bank a lot because he came from the Negro League also. So I collect all this information and I don't write nothing down. I got everything here. To be a catcher, you gotta have that mentality. That's how come I tell a kid, like I'm this kid, I'm telling us, you gotta write everything here.
On top of you, right? This hand in the back. Share a little bit about your teen years of baseball in Cuba before you came to the United States.
I make my own bat. Sometimes when I catch, make my own mascara out of wire, so I put some tape around and I catch with that, and then I make my own glove. The uniform, we make it out of white sacks. We put the special sugar king in there, so that's how we make the uniform.
Right.
I love to work with the kids.
Yeah.
I love that. This not like a job, they're gonna pay you something. No, you don't have to pay me nothing you want to. It's so beautiful. Work with the kids, this or this, and laugh, have a lot of fun. This is the best job I have after baseball.
Panchon, tell me what it was like playing for the Kansas City Monarchs.
You have a few ball players you can play in the Major League.
The Kansas City Monarchs put a team down in Key West that they called the Cuban Monarchs.
Scout for the Kansas City Monarchs. Come to Cuba, they have one team in Cuba, one group in Cuba. In Key West, we have a boss waiting for us here. They say Cuban Monarchs. When I come to Kansas City Monarchs, Boconi said, "Well, muchacho," because Boconi play in Cuba. They speak a little Spanish. I said, "Well, muchacho, for now you're going to be first base for Kansas City Monarchs." I said, "Thank you."
Henry Aaron, along with other stars, made it to the major leagues via the Negro Leagues. Tell me about some of those players.
They have the 1-2, me and any bank. They hit it there, I hit it 4, sometimes hit it 4, they hit there. This is a combination we have in the Kansas City Monarchs. We win a pennant that year. And he don't finish that year with us. He going to Chicago Cubs before the season is over. Sache Pay come here to Miami, play with us. We go inside to change the shirt and everything, and Sache Pay come. I said, "Sache, you pitch today?" He said, "Okay, muchacho, pitch today." I said, "Sache, but the game is starting in 30 minutes." It's okay, muchacho, you take his time, put some chill and say, he come out about 15 minutes before the game starts. I need to throw in bullpen 1, 2, about 10 pitches. Let's go.
Tell me about your relationship with some of the Kansas City Monarchs.
We're good together, so good, you know, like a family. They say they're gonna pay the $250 a month.
Did they ever do that?
No. No, he pay us to the attendance. You know, the more people have in the stadium than like this one. We don't have no segregation in Cuba, nothing like that. You know, it's just funny, you know, because a lot of people don't speak the most English. Sometimes we have to go eat somewhere, and somebody had to go to a store, buy something to us. We had to go to the neighborhood to eat something, you know, like that. And sometimes we go to a gas station to stop to gasoline, or had to stop the driver going over there, buy something, bring it to us. And one time we gone to North Carolina, we played the game, we back to the hotel. We saw some people with the white stuff, and we sing it's a fiesta. In Cuba, like I said, it's a fiesta, you know. And we get down the window, say, hey, look at that. And we look at this one, you know, with the white stuff and the big, you know, cuckoo clan.
Yeah.
Somebody opened the door. You know who's book on it? Get out! He does it. What's going on? No. Get out! Close that window. They're gonna kill us, you crazy! No. Oh boy, he mad, real mad.
Wow.
We don't know nothing about it.
She's watching them from all angles.
Yeah, you gotta pick up the ball in the way to home plate. You have the reaction as the ball approaching the plate.
So you don't anticipate. You don't say he's going to throw a fastball.
No, because you wait at the last minute, you react. That's why come they have to pay those guys so much money, because not everybody can hit a ball.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to Selma, Alabama, where it's a second string catcher, but then they don't allow black to play in Selma, Alabama. They flew me into San Antonio, and I went to play with the Clown. And that's when I got to play. And I hit good, and then there was a lot of scouts. So, you know, we look for a scout, but I don't know how to look for a scout because I wasn't educated about the game so much. You know, the other kid told me, hey, there's a scout in the stand, and you're trying to perform for the scout, and that's when you get in trouble because you want to do too much. When I went to spring training, the first day of the spring training, the same guy that released me in Cleveland, he was there, the phone director for Washington. And when they saw me walk in, they said, wait a minute, what you doing in here? We release you, we don't need you. You know, we got too many catches. So he talked to the people and everything and said, how can I give this kid some money? You know, he never show anything. How can I show anything when he never let me play? Okay, so that week I hit 4 home runs because I played with the Clown. He don't know that I was already playing with the Clown. He don't know about me. I throw guys out from my knees, so everybody started looking at it. You know, this is not the same kid we released. Then William teach me the discipline not to play. He used to bring me a picture of Johnny Bench, put him in my locker. Every time Johnny hit a home run in the picture, he wants me to get the hips to the ball.
In the Senator years, I was a kid, 68, 69. We had a little sandlot field, and I was always you. And when you always have a hero. Well, I was Paul Casanova. I'd throw from my knees, you know. And it was amazing. This is why.
I love the cards. I thought they were great, really, and I thought they would sell, but so far nothing. So far,
I think they know my intent was there, and I know their intent was there, and together we set out to do something unique.
Well, I thought by now I'd been a millionaire by now.
Trying to get it into the mainstream media, a Topps or a Don Russ, has been it's a trying experience. All it takes is to pick up the phone and call one of the guys, and you hear a new story. It just rekindles the spirit.
There's some players that know very little about what Jackie Robinson really done. That played in the majors or played in the majors. There's no interest, no real interest and how they got there. And they're making the big bucks.
We wanted to break the color blind. Buck called me, Buck O'Neill. You know Buck. I do know Buck. He said, you see that something going over there? I said, yeah. He said, we did nothing for him to get up there in the major. As he told one of the biggest damn lies he ever told in his life, Buck. I said, I'm telling you too. He didn't know what we went through. He's making that long money up there. Hell, who helped me get here? I'm making long money now, so he didn't think about that.
We paved the way for them with the talent we had in the 40s and the talent we had in the 50s. And they feel they made it on their own talent. No, 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 no. You didn't make it on your talent alone. Somebody had to pay a price for that. And Jackie and all the players following Jackie paid that price. We opened the door for them. But there seemed to be a scarcity of knowledge or interest in what we did.
When you saw the civil rights movement, you saw him walking arms in arms. On this end was Martin Luther King. Right next to him was Abernathy. Right next to him was Jesse Jackson. Right next to him was John Lewis. Right next to him, Harry Belafonte. And guess who's on the other end? Jackie Robinson.
You got some people that want to tell the story and give them credit for a lot of what they did. And they're just so proud. To whatever degree they're recognized, they're just very proud.
Most of these guys I'm showing you is gone, man. All these guys was living then.
That's still that old ghost of the guys in 47 and in the Hall of Fame are the only Negro Leaguers. And that's not true. And I will fight that until my death. My quest is eternal.
Major League Baseball missed out on some great athletes by the blacks not being included to play baseball. Even after they started signing the black boy, they had the number of black boys that they were going to sign, you know. And everybody just didn't get an equal chance. I don't think I got an equal chance myself.
All the black players, the big leagues, they were great ball players. I can't say I wasn't great because I never know. I don't know what I would have done. But I just wanted that chance.
Suppose I've been playing the Midwest League now and hit .330 and lead the league in home runs and set an RBI record at 136. What do you think would happen?
Well, you've been called up.
Quick.
Yeah.
But I wasn't called up then. They didn't even sell me to a higher league.
From every mountainside, let freedom ring, and if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring.
Oh, I can hit and I can play. It's what I'm all about. I can't wait until that day, the day Jim Crow strikes out. I heard all the people say, strike that batter out. I'm glad I lived to see this day, the day Jim Crow strikes out. Playing in the major leagues, joy we never knew. We fought for a larger cause than runs and outs and strikes and balls. We know this much is true. Well, I remember everything, northeast, west, and south. We were the heart, we gave a start to the day Jim Crow strikes out. he was not the only one playing baseball. And the blues, oh, I have traveled everywhere, northwest, east, and south. I'm proud to say that I was there the day Jim Crow strikes out. The road was hot, we got our card the day Jim Crow strikes out. The taste is sweet, it can't be beat the day Jim Crow strikes out. The day Jim Crow strikes out.